Something as prestigious as being a judge. You know what? I'll forego that to chase this dream.
And so for all of this, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Hey everybody, welcome to May the 4th be with you on Judge Vinny. We have such an incredible geek, nerd, Star Wars festival coming to you today. I am wearing my The Force is Strong in my family shirt. There's a little bit of a delay in my video. I don't know why. I don't have Jess working with me today, so it is just me. But I'm going to do the best I can as I did last week. And listen, how can I not have a show about Star Wars without someone named Ben? You have to have a Ben. You need a Ben. We have Ben. We have Michael Sirachi. We have May the 4th. It's an incredible day. What else can we say here?
It's an incredible day.
There's a weird little ting. Hopefully, I'm going to work through that. I don't know if that's on your end, guys.
Try muting yourself, Ben, maybe?
So we're working out the kinks
there it
again.
Goes. Now it's gone.
We're working solo here. No Jess, producer. She had another thing to do tonight, so we will get Jess back in. But remember, if you're watching the videos, like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. Let me know if you're watching live or on replay. Here's what we have tonight. So Michael Sirachi, huge Star Wars nerd like myself. Okay. Ben, look, Ben is like, he said it. He goes, I'm not going to lie. I'm not like you guys.
I like Star Wars. I do.
I like Star Wars. But you guys are totally, you guys geek out, you nerd out. And I'm not as into it as you guys are. So what I would like to do with the fellas tonight is rank the Star Wars movies, and I consider there to be 11 Star Wars movies, the 3 trilogies, and then I add in Rogue One, I add in Solo. A lot of people don't like that I add in Solo, but I think it's part of it. And Rogue One, I'm sorry, I think that's part of it. Guys, any objection to adding in those 2?
No.
That is
Two good movies, if you ask me.
They take place within the universe.
Absolutely. Agreed. Okay. Let's jump right into this. And by the way, anyone that's watching, by all means, throw us your comments on the StreamYard. Ask us questions about characters, what we like, what we don't like, and we're going to correspond with you. We're going to say hello as much as we can. I'm going to turn on my Facebook in the meantime for anyone that's going to leave messages there. Got to rank number 1 out of the gate. Now, this you would think is an easy one to rank the best one, but believe it or not, I get pushback on this. Top for me is the original Star Wars, A New Hope. I think you got to open with that one, number 1. Any objection there?
I also have New Hope at number 1.
Okay. Srirachi?
No objection. I go back and forth with the first 3. I think that like our generation, we kind of knew that. Like I think a lot of critics will always say the 5th one, as in the second one, and
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back is like the best one because that's when the Darth Vader bomb was dropped. But
yes,
like I grew up knowing that Darth Vader was the father, so that whole part of it was kind of removed from me. So I like to say 6 or 4 as my favorite one.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. A lot of people that throw out Empire Strikes Back as number 1, I tell them, listen, it's easy to say that because the movie got better because of the budget, because of the special effects, and it became a little bit darker. But you can't have that without part 1. You can't have it with A New Hope. So, listen, number 2 on the list for me, I go straight to Empire Strikes Back. So that's how I go 1, 2. I go New Hope and Empire Strikes Back 1, 2, and they were close 1, 2. And I tell people, look, although these are sci-fi movies, to me, Empire Strikes Back could be one of the best movie sequels ever. I mean, you're talking Godfather 1, Godfather 2, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I got to put Empire Strikes Back in terms of a follow-up movie to come with it at that level. That some people even think it was better than the first one. How often do you get that in any sequel? Ben, can you think of any other sequel movie that matched a first movie to that level? It's a tough one, right?
I'm hard pressed to think of one.
When you think of sequels, they never live up to the original.
You think of a commercial obligation, and you think of a artistic decline.
Yeah, and again, I go Godfather 1, Godfather 2. You didn't lose much there. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. You certainly don't lose anything there. So that anyone, if you could think out, people out there that are watching this, if you can think of a sequel that kind of matched the first movie that came out, please let us know, comment, let me know what you're thinking about it. So this way, and I'm going to try to look at the Facebook as well. So it might be a little bit distracting, but yeah, by all means, let us know what you think about it. Third place. This is where we start getting a little weird. All right. Because now we got the first 2 out of the way. There's no argument. Those are the top 2. If you want to put them 1, 2, 2, 1, however you want to do it. I go Revenge of the Sith in third place. What do you got, Srirachi?
I got 6. I just got the first three right away, and then I got the third one as the 4th.
So you go Return of the Jedi. What do you go, Ben?
I go The Last Jedi, Star Wars Episode 8. That's what I got,
Like a lightsaber just went right into my heart. All right.
The throne room fight.
All right. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I go with Revenge of the Sith and not Return of the Jedi. I go Sith because I think Sith stays pretty consistent with the story, pretty consistent with the timeline. I like that it's dark like Empire Strikes Back. The reason I don't go Return of the Jedi in that position, it got a little commercially for me, and the Ewoks threw it off. The Ewok thing, and that's usually the critique. The
I
Ewok
thought the
thing.
Ewoks were very cute. I thought the Ewoks.
How
were
old
very
were
cute.
you when you saw the sixth one? Do you remember?
Yeah, so you're talking right about there. I'm 13, 14 years old, so I'm getting past the Ewok stage. So that could be a 2. If you're in that teenage kind of weird phase, that could be the thing. So that's why I go there. Here, all right, now let's go to Ben. So Ben, you're saying which one now?
I said The Last Jedi is my number
All right.
3.
What's the
Episode
throne room
8.
fight that you're talking about, Ben?
He's talking about when Rey and what's his name?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren are fighting everybody in the throne room, and Snoke, who's this all-powerful being, doesn't realize there's a lightsaber next to him turning. That's going to cut him in half.
I thought that's the 8th one.
Mm.
Isn't that the 8th one?
Yeah, that's the.
Yes.
Is that the one you're? Yeah, that's the one he's referring to.
Yes.
Okay. I thought you said
Yeah.
the 7th one. All right.
Yeah, no. He's going with that one.
Episode 8.
Yeah. Now you like episode 8 more than 7, huh?
It takes number 3rd. It takes number 3.
That's controversial with Star Wars fans because that's when they did like the hyperspace jump and light speed, which just like makes no sense in within the canon at all, and like, everyone just hated their director like Ryan Wilson for doing that.
Rian Johnson, yeah. No, that's when the hate started. The anger really started in that episode where they turned a spaceship into basically you could jump into light speed and start slicing through other spaceships, and everybody's like, where the hell was this technology all these years? Wait a minute, what
5G.
the hell?
5G
and then they had to
spaceships.
go back and fix it in the 9th one. Do you remember that? Where it was like,
yeah, and then they're like,
J.J. Abrams had to make a comment like, "Oh, it's 1 in a billion chance." Like,
remember that thing we did? Let me tell you about that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So those are my top 3 with Sith. 4th place for me, I go Star Wars Rogue One. Actually, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I put that in 4th place. What do you have, Sriracha?
I have that as 5th place. I have
so we're close.
Yeah, the scene when at the end of that movie when it feeds into the 4th, when Darth Vader comes out and starts choking everyone, is like the most goosebumps I've ever had watching Star Wars. Like that was the most insane scene in any movie to me.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But I have Revenge of the Sith 3 before that. So we're just flip flop.
We're flip-flopping. We're close.
Yeah.
All right, so now Ben, who's not as big as a fan, and I like that we have Ben that's not as big as a fan, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, and this is serious. So there was a lot of people that watch Star Wars casually that look at people like me and Michael Sriracha as lunatics. Like, look, man, just enjoy the movie and the story for what it's worth. And that's kind of what Ben is. So I like having Ben. It's important to have. Yeah, and it's a different fan perspective. So I kind of like that. So like what do you put
in the 8th one when they slice through that ship? There's like 2 reactions you can have. You can be like, "Oh my god, that was the most visually stunning thing I've seen in any Star Wars," or you can be like, "What the fuck? That breaks the rules of the universe." Like, you know what I mean? So.
Right. So Ben is cheering, going, "Yeah," and me and you are sitting there going, "Sit down, Dick. You don't even understand how that just ruined everything about the whole trilogy and everything I've watched up until now."
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you have as 4?
Ben or me?
Ben.
4, I have Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
1983.
Okay. I'm going to tell you, see, again, that's the Ewok thing. Now, I don't have it too far off of there. So that's top 4 for me so far. I have Return of the Jedi 6, so we're not that far away. The only thing I think me and Sriracha are going to crush Ben on is putting the last 3 anywhere near the top 5. So let's see how it plays out. So now my 5th one, and this is going to get interesting because this is where me and Sriracha are going to nerd out and see if we start bringing in that first trilogy. I go Phantom Menace 5.
Okay.
What do you have 5?
I have Rogue One. I go 6. I have like sort of like I have like 5, 4, 6 kind of flip flopping in the first 3, and then I go 3, and then Revenge of the Sith, and then Rogue One as 5.
Okay. Where do you have Phantom Menace on your list?
I have it after Solo, and actually after the 8th.
Wow. You actually dropped. All right. Why don't you like it?
the CGI in Phantom Menace was so bad, and George Lucas spent so much time on like all the international or like the galactic politics in that movie that like it has this amazing climax at the end where Darth Maul is like an awesome,
Darth Maul,
super villain, and there's
that was him for
choreography,
Halloween.
and it's like the first time there's an amazing lightning fight. But there's like 2 hours of build up to that moment that I just like don't even remember, that were like completely irrelevant to what I remember. So
okay, so a lot of people don't like Phantom Menace because it's a lot of dialogue. There's no doubt about it. And when you have basically that's the first book of what is the Star Wars story. So it almost has to set up this universe. So I understand where people look at that and are like, hey, look, man, there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of backstory here. There's a lot going on. What is all of this? So I feel that. I get that. The reason I go that strong with Phantom Menace is because you do get what Ben just threw in. You get that Sith lore. You get Darth Maul. You get the beginning of learning what the dark side of the Force is, and you start getting some of that Jedi story and that lore of Jedi's good evil type of thing. I think it's a fair critique though with the CGI, and I think it's a fair critique with a lot of dialogue. What do you have in that position, Ben? What do you have as for 5?
We're at 5 now.
Yeah.
So this may be controversial. I have Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated. Animated series.
No,
I don't think you've seen Rogue One, Ben. If you're going to put that in front of Rogue One.
No. See, this is where we look at the people that watch Star Wars, and me and Srirachi are starting. We're getting the shakes right now. We're literally like you can't hear it for people that are watching this, but Srirachi's skin just crawled. You probably couldn't hear it, but I heard it through my earbuds. I heard his skin crawl on that one.
Srirachi's very disappointed in me.
I just don't think you've seen Rogue One, Ben.
That was the most.
Be honest.
I don't think I've seen Rogue One.
No, I want you. We have to just comment on how passive aggressive that was. Okay, that was. You know what? But no, I'm not. I don't want to shit on you. It's just you know what? You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't really seen. You haven't seen the movies the way you're supposed to watch the movies, Ben. All right.
I concede. I do.
All right. So that's
what happens in Rogue One.
Rogue One is a bridge between Episode 3, which is Revenge of the Sith, and A New Hope. Now, the weird thing about that, okay, here's what Rogue One really has to thread a needle, because when you do Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope back to back, visually, it's really hard to justify it because Ben Kenobi ages so much visually that you're like, this dude let himself go on Tatooine, man. What happened here? And even the Darth Vader, okay? Now, for those that really geek out and get into the books and the comic books and all of the different stories and the Clone Wars and the stuff that you see, the cartoons, Darth Vader, a lot of people don't appreciate how incredibly powerful he was as a Sith. And a lot of that training happens between what is Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope that's kind of left vague and open. So you kind of have to build that bridge, and it's really hard to do because there's this whole thing how he goes back to the planet where he was burned, was at Mustafar, right? He goes back there and he does a lot of training and he creates robots to train with, and he becomes this really vicious guy that he ultimately is, Darth Vader. So he kind of builds that rep in that time period. So Rogue One tries to thread the needle of bridging that gap, and it doesn't really do Darth Vader justice. Mm-hmm. So some people kind of don't like it for that reason. And it's also a timeline thing where it's like, how does everyone get so old so fast? So it's like this 20-year gap. It does the best it can. Look, I like it for what it was as a movie, and considering the parameters they had to work within, I thought it was great. But I think you would like it, Ben. I think you'd like Rogue One.
Yeah. It's also cool because it builds on that little comment in Star Wars 4 where they talk about how they stole the Death Star plans, and they're like,
yes,
the people who did this didn't make it, and then they just leave it there, right. And then, however many years later, they make a whole movie about the people that were literally on a world that exploded at the end, and everyone died. It's the first Star Wars movie where all the good characters die at the end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, it's literally a movie where the good guys die for the most part, and the only thing that makes it out is literally a floppy disk. So it's kind of it's kind of a really good story, and it's that darkness that follows Revenge of the Sith. So I kind of like the way they kept the tone. They didn't lose the tone. So that's me again geeking out. Number 6 for me. This is where I throw in Return of the Jedi. And the reason I throw in Return of the Jedi here again, it drops down and it's in the second half, kind of my top 11 because of the Ewok thing. I think it was very commercial, but at the same time, it stays true to the story. It gets a little hokey with the dialogue with him and his sister. And all of a sudden, she starts feeling the Force and she's just like, wait a minute. Yeah, you're my brother. No, I kind of knew. No, you kind of kissed him 2 movies ago. And then you kissed him again 1 movie ago. So I don't think you knew. I don't think you knew. Okay. So that's where I throw Return of the Jedi. But then again, it has such a powerful, ending place. So we think between father and son and the evil force that's guiding the father, that ultimately the father's like, no, I'm going back to who I am as a person. I'm going to be the example my son thinks I am. So there is kind of a feel good thing there as well. So that's where I throw Jedi. So Sriracha, you already have Return of the Jedi in the top 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where were you on that one, Ben? Do you have that anywhere in the top 6?
Well, I actually had in my 6, I had Rogue One at 6.
Oh, so 6. All right, so that's respectable. That's respectable. We could see that there. Here's one of the comments we're getting. I saw the first 3 because my children were young, too young to go alone. In fact, took most of the neighborhood boys because I was the neighborhood schmuck. Not a fan, thought they were entertaining. Yeah, look, see, the thing about Star Wars that also is huge with regards to movie making and the bridge from the 70s, 80s was the action figures. This is the first time a movie really breaks into the commercial world hard. And the other thing, I mean, this doesn't end. I mean, you have Disney races. I put up one of the pictures I had on my profile today to promote this was me and Disney taking a picture with BB-8. They have the Star Wars runs now at Disney World. Well, I know with the pandemic they don't have it, but in Disneyland in California, they have the light side of the Force races. And in Disney World, they have the dark side of the Force races. So it's a 5K, 10K, half marathon and a full marathon, and you could do what's called the Kessel Run if you run both races. So if you go to California and do those races, and then you come and they give you medals for each one. Maybe I'll take pictures of my medals. I'll put them up afterwards. But yeah, so it's like a big thing that people go dressed as the characters when they run. Yeah, so I mean, not only do you have the action figures, you have people dressing as characters. You have people creating lightsabers at Disney. When they go to Hollywood Studios, there's a place you can actually build a lightsaber for like $230. This is not cheap, guys.
That's a pricey saber.
Yeah. So there's a huge thing that kind of drags the parents into it. So it kind of introduces parents and generations. So anyway, so let's move on with the list just to keep this going. So number 7, that's where I put Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, Ben, do you have it already in the mix? Sriracha, do you have a Solo in the top 7?
I have it at 6.
Okay, yeah. So again, the nerds.
I thought it was an underappreciated. I thought it was an underappreciated like Solo spinoff. Like I thought it was decent and it didn't ruin the story, and it was a cool kind of background on Han Solo.
Yes,
wasn't super exciting, but it was just fun to watch. The graphics were good. So it was like, and it didn't ruin the story. So it was just nice to watch and be like, I'm glad we have this movie. I've only seen it twice though, too. So it's like,
I'm going to agree with you on all fronts. I will say this, and people that know me know how big of a fan I am, like kind of weird Hollywood crush on Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones, Daenerys Targaryen, huge crush. I'm going to tell you this, doesn't do a great job acting in that movie. Yeah. Of all the characters and all of the actors, Danny Glover is great. He does a great Lando. Even the guy who plays Solo, who I've seen in like nothing else, I think he was really good. Of all the actors that don't carry their weight, I have to tell you, I don't know how you feel about it, guys, but I felt Emilia Clarke was weak in that role.
I think that's true. I think part of it also is just like we know her as Daenerys Targaryen, and it's just weird to see her in another role.
You expected more, though. You expected like more charisma. I thought she was bland. I thought, you know, it's kind of like when I would see George Clooney in movies. It's like he's George Clooney in every movie. You know, I guess I wanted to see something more for her based on what I'd seen. So you're not going to get her yelling Dothraki. I get that. But it was almost like she was too cool and laid back. And it was like she did nothing. Yeah. As opposed to, it's like, I'm not going to be Daenerys, so I'm just going to do nothing. Did you see that one?
It's weird to not have Harrison Ford as Han Solo.
Yeah.
That to me, like he just embodies that character through and through.
But did you see the movie?
I did not.
Yeah, watch it. I think the actor does it justice. I really do. I think the actor does it justice. Now, let me ask you this. Again, as a casual fan, did you not see Solo because it was just like, look, I'm not that into Star Wars. Now I got spin-offs to keep up with. This is a lot to do. This is a lot of work.
Yeah, I got off the bus when Disney got fully involved and was rehashing it. And
they also pumped Solo out like in between like Rogue One and like I forget when exactly it was, but I was like, oh my god, I just saw another Star Wars movie. Like, yeah, we were kind of too inculcated with Star Wars at that point.
Yeah, I think there was a lot going on, and I'm going to tell you this, Ben. You definitely hit on something there. So there's, for a lot of the fans that are Star Wars fans, when Disney took over Star Wars, you're talking revolt. You're talking a lot of people got very turned off because of they went, look, for lack of a better word, they went woke. They tried to create, they created body armor for certain characters, script, what do you call that? Script armor, plot armor, I should say, for certain characters that normally wouldn't exist if you just let the story play out. There were just some overtones and themes that you were just like, what are we doing here? And then to have Abrams, Johnson, back to Abrams, direct it and never talk to each other. And Rian Johnson starts filming episode 8 literally as episode 7 is ending. He didn't even watch episode 7. So he basically says to Abrams, just give me a synopsis and I'm going to run with it here. It was very disjointed, and the Star Wars fandom was just like, you completely went against everything that we learned as kids. So yeah, there is a lot of that. Deb checking in, shared with my grandson to be, and he is a huge Star Wars geek. Yeah, it's one of look, the big thing when I grew up was you were either a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan. So there were the Trekkies and the Star Wars fans. So that was the big rivalry there. I guess what's the closest thing to that now? I guess Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones.
Harry Potter for sure.
Yeah, so there was certain geekdom that would go head to head. So you tend to like one and not the other one. Now, I'll be honest. I was older. I liked Harry Potter a lot more than Lord of the Rings. I still haven't gone through Lord of the Rings. I'll be honest. I can't get through it. I fall asleep the same point in the first movie every time.
I think Harry Potter translated remarkably well to film. That was one cool thing about it. The movies were excellent.
Yeah. Oh, and the people that I know that have read the books have said the same thing. They said they did a great job going. But I hear that for Lord of the Rings. I hear that book to movie was done really well. And look, they were winning Oscars like crazy. And for that type of movie to win Oscars, it's a hell of an achievement. Yeah. All right. So let's get back to my list. So we are up to number 8. Now we're getting towards the bottom. Now we're getting towards these movies didn't do it for me. And for number 8, I put The Force Awakens. Now, The Force Awakens is the first of the new trilogy. And people are like, how are you putting it all the way down to 8? Did you see the graphics, the story? And I'm going to tell you why I put it at 8. The Force Awakens, for me, as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is A New Hope. This is the first Star Wars movie. He basically played it as safe as possible. So basically, he took the first movie and said, I'm going to redo it and change the main character from Luke Skywalker to Ray Ridley. And I'm going to tell you why I put it at 8. The Force Awakens, for me, as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is A New Hope. This is the first Star Wars movie. He basically played it as safe as possible. So basically, he took the first movie and said, I'm going to redo it and change the main character from Luke Skywalker to Ray Ridley. And you know what? Now it's the girl is the superhero as opposed to Skywalker. And then to blow up the planet the same way, I was just like, oh, we're not blowing up another planet, are we?
Yeah.
Really?
They already did that twice in the first trilogy.
Yeah, and people are just like, you're just anti-Rey. And I'm like, no, I love the Rey character. I think the Rey character is great. I loved everything about her character. To me, it's like, give her something different to do, though. Just give her a different thing. Like, why are we doing the same thing with a new character? And that's why I hate when they bring in, well, you know what, we're going to do like a woke version of Star Wars and make them do the same thing. No, give her something different to do. If you're going to bring in a new character, give him something different. So that was my big thing. And I'm going to tell you this, if you're a South Park fan, South Park destroys this movie in the best way possible. They basically outlined what I felt watching the movie, which is, you just redid it. I know everyone's going crazy over it. I know you're getting all these new fans from it, but you just redid A New Hope. So where do you have that one, Sriracha? Where do you have The Force Awakens?
I have it second to last.
Yeah. See, we got it down. Yeah.
But I actually have 8 before it. Even though 8 fucked up a lot of things, I just like that it was actually bold. Like, I like that he actually took risks as a director, and like, okay, I love this sort of like, you know, when they went to, everyone hated when Finn and Rose went down to that like planet where they were. It took up like 20 minutes of the movie, and it really ended up doing nothing. Was that nothing? Everyone was like so mad about it, but then they also got that weapons dealer that like switched sides on them. I thought it was like, it wasn't well executed, but it was a cool commentary that the original Star Wars never did, which is like, you know, there's good and bad people on both sides. And at the end of the day, there's people that are just profiting from the war. So like the rebels, or like, even though they're the good guys, they're also, it's kind of the bad guys too, because they're paying for those weapons. So I thought those were like cool angles to explore, but they didn't execute it well. So that's why I have 8 before 7. And 7, like you said, just because they played it so safe, and they and then
I'm gonna throw Ben a tough question. I'm gonna throw him a movie question. All right. So in episodes 7 and 8, I think there's one of the biggest wastes of a character that got promoted, got sold as an action figure. There's this plasma character.
Jar Jar Binks?
No. There's this plasma character, this chrome trooper. And it's Gwendolyn Christie is in the uniform, and they pump up this character. Oh my God, there's this chrome trooper, and there's only one of her, and literally she does nothing for 2 movies. She does nothing. She gets thrown in a trash compactor in the first movie, and then dies unceremoniously immediately in the second movie. And you're like, what the fuck did we do? Why'd you create this character? Is there another movie out there that you can think, oh my God, you came up with this great character for this movie, and they did nothing. Literally did nothing. Like, I know there's got to be a movie out there that you're just like, what a waste of an actor, what a waste of a character, what a waste of an opportunity that somebody could have done something there, and man, they did nothing.
Yeah.
Ben, that's a tough one.
Jared Leto in Suicide Squad, where he was like the Joker.
Yeah, it's got to be like, one of these superhero movies. Yeah.
Like, oh, we got a new Joker, and then like he had like 2 minutes of screen time in the whole movie, and apparently they had shot hours and hours of film, and the director decided to cut everything.
That's a good call. That's a good call. See, it's going to be, it'll probably be in a superhero movie like that, where you're just like, what a waste of a superhero. Why didn't we not use this superhero more in this movie that you created this, and that's it? Or even a villain. You know, there's got to be something like that. But yeah. To me, that was one of those things, a total complete waste of a character. Okay, number 9. This is where I put Attack of the Clones. Now, Attack of the Clones is a hated movie for Star Wars fans. One reason, and Ben touched on it a second ago, Jar Jar Binks. So there's this Jar Jar Binks character.
I like Jar Jar Binks.
See, that's the casual fan, Sriracha. Look at me and Sriracha are laughing in that cringe way. Because see, the casual fans like, it was great. It was fun. What are you kidding me? And we're looking at you like trying to do the Darth Vader choke on you at that point. If we could actually choke you like Darth Vader, we would. If we could force choke you in the movie theater, go, this guy's great, we would force choke you and let you die.
What's wrong with Jar Jar? What's wrong with Jar Jar?
It was one of those characters that, again, not only brought nothing to the storyline, but was almost like a distraction.
Right.
That they actually gave this character so much importance.
Yeah.
And then it's so funny because in the very next movie, they were like, well, we made him important. We got to do something. And they let him show up at the council meeting, like in front of, what was their Congress Senate meeting, where he stands there and gives like this couple minute speech.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they gave him this couple minute speech just to let you know, look, we messed up. We messed up with this character, but we can't just get rid of him. We know you hated him. George, that was like the George Lucas apology. We apologize. We understand this was a bad move. But look, he's still here, and he's doing things and they made him totally serious. There was nothing goofy about him. They like tried to substantiate the fact that they even had Jar Jar Binks. So so that's why this one is so far down. Now here's the funny thing: as low as Attack of the Clones is on my list, number 9, there's 2 below it, which goes to show you, as much as I hated Attack of the Clones, I hated these 2 movies next, and the first one is The Last Jedi. Now, Sriracha, you have Last Jedi a lot higher than 10. Where is Last Jedi on your list?
Which one is that?
The Last Jedi is the second in the last trilogy.
Oh, yeah. I have it at 6.
All right, you have it pretty high. And,
I do.
And actually,
I actually was like one people that I know that I actually talked Star Wars with that liked it. And again, it's just because of those risks. And like, it was so cool to see.
Okay, right.
Like, the commentary on people who sell weapons and the commentary on sort of like colonialism in that one planet when they have the rich people and all the poor people, and like that stuff was cool and it was new to me, but
right.
I do understand how bad the movie was.
Ben, where were you on that movie? You kind of like that one because you said you liked that kind of that lightsaber fight with Kylo and Ridley with Snoke there, and the Red Guards. I'm going to tell you what my big thing was. I think this is the first time we see Luke Skywalker since Return of the Jedi. Now, here's why it's so down on my list. Luke Skywalker is everything that was the power in the Force. He never turned sour. He was always positive. Basically, he was in a position to take out his dad like his dad took out other Siths. Didn't do it, sacrificing himself to the Emperor. I mean, this guy he checked every box right, and he comes back this complete curmudgeon that not only does it turn me off, if you look at the interviews, Mark Hamill, who played the character, was like, what did you do to Luke Skywalker? Dude, I embodied this guy for 3 movies. This is so not him. I lived it. This character is literally my life. Okay, this is all I've ever been. There's me and there's Luke Skywalker, and sometimes I don't know the difference between the two. This is not the character. That's why it's so down on my list, because what they did to Luke Skywalker in the storyline and the canons, to me, was just a disgrace. And then to finally have him have this moment where he's back to being Luke Skywalker and he dies forcing himself in a hologram. It was literally, I left the movie with just douche chills about how disgusted I was with that. So that's why it's down on the list for me. I know you have it higher. Ben, you have that movie up high too, right? As a casual fan.
As a casual fan, yeah, I wasn't so bothered by it.
Yeah. See, the diehards, we were just crushed with what they did with Luke. Which brings me to the final movie, the number 11. And the only reason it's number 11 and not worse is because there's only 11 movies in this list. And that was the last movie made, Rise of Skywalker. Where is it on your list, Sriracha? Is it last on your list?
Yeah, it's last.
Dead last.
Yeah. It was last on my list too. All
right, that's the casual fan. Yes, the casual fan comes through. This movie is literally, it takes everything you've seen in the first 8 movies and dismisses all of it. It completely dismisses it and it takes the one character, the Emperor, who literally gets thrown down a shaft. His body seemingly explodes. And they're like, no, he could survive that. Then 2 minutes later, the entire planet he's on explodes. They're like, no, believe it or not, he's still good. And then they show him like hooked up to a machine, and he's no worse for the wear. No worse for the wear. And he's been plotting and scheming with all of these super Death Star destroyer spaceships. He's going to basically take on the universe with all these, and he's got these spaceships have the power of the Death Star just in a spaceship. And you're like, well, what? Wait a minute. Why did we even just build the last Death Star thing that we had 2 movies ago? If you have the technology to put this in his, what are you doing, dude? I mean, it basically said, and also this is the reason why I hated it. Look, for better or worse, Rian Johnson made the decisions he made. This movie basically says, forget about the last movie you just saw. Everything you just saw in that movie, ignore it. None of that really counts. And you can't make a movie saying, ignore everything that you have to at least try to follow the storyline as opposed to just ignore it completely. And basically the last 3 movies just ignore one another. And it's just, I'm going to forget about it was. And I tell people they're almost standalone movies. They're not even trilogy movies. They're standalone at that point. So we all had that one last, which is comforting that geeks and even a casual observer has it last. Now, all right. So we know why me and Sriracha like it. We're geeks. We're nerds. Ben, when you look at the Star Wars, the legacy that's been since you're talking 1977. What about it didn't grab you to like kind of geek out on it? Was there something missing, or like when you watch it, like why casual and not like for me, Lord of the Rings? People say to me, "Why are you not into?" And I'm like, I don't know. It literally doesn't grab me in the first hour. So whatever's going on in that first hour, and people like, you got to muster through that movie. If you soldier through that movie, you're gonna love the next 2. I can't get through the first one. So was there something about like the Star Wars thing that just kind of threw you off?
Nothing like, explicitly pushed me away from it. I think I was just not as into the world as I could have been, because that's forget the story. Like you've got to be hooked on the world at the end of the day to really stick with that series. And I wasn't invested in the world.
The story is so recycled and generic that there's nothing interesting in the plot really. And you have to be infatuated by the world to really love it.
You do. And as it develops and you start getting into Attack of the Clones and some of the canon stuff and start reading more, you find out, which is why, again, the last 3 movies are so horrific for a geek, is this story is really about this family. It's about this Skywalker family and this bloodline, and how the bloodline comes about. And there's a lot of mystery into that, because there's a lot of mystery in just the birth of Anakin Skywalker, and whether or not it was some weird kind of virginal, like kind of Jesus figure where there was no actual father and it was something spiritual and the whole bit. So that's why it's really about this linear family, the Skywalkers. And when it breaks off in the last 3 movies, and then all of a sudden, Ridley goes and she buries the lightsabers, and the woman asks her, "What's your name?" And she's like, "It's Rey. What's your last name?" And she goes, "Skywalker." That's literally when people like me and Sriracha are like, "All right, we're out." Like he's shaking his head no right now. Like when they
took a story that ended perfectly, and then they made 3 more movies out of it just to make money. But they should have just done like what Game of Thrones is doing, where it's like, we're just going to tell a different story within the universe. We're not going to tell the backstory of Jon Snow now that Game of Thrones is over.
And the funny thing is, they wanted to do that now, and they got Benioff and Weiss to try to do it, and they were immediately like, "Oh my God, actually, you two guys, as it turns out, are really terrible storytellers." Yeah, and they're like, "Wow, now we see why Game of Thrones ended the way it did." Okay, so we're not going to do that. So now it's the spinoffs. Let's get to the one spinoff that everyone loves, and then we'll wrap it up. Mandalorian. Now, Ben, as the casual fan, did you get into the Mandalorian?
Casually. I wasn't watching every episode, but I appreciated the craft of it, the artistry. Baby Yoda, the cultural phenom that he has become. So I appreciated the Mandalorian.
Okay. How'd you feel about it, Tarachi?
I thought they redeemed Luke Skywalker very well after the new trilogy absolutely ruined him. So I was really happy with that. And I liked it. I want Disney to take risks with Star Wars, and I loved it. It was amazing. I hope there's another spinoff that's very dark. I'd love to see a spinoff of Darth Vader going and hunting all the Jedi and having like psychological trauma and like murdering people. And
me and you both.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because again, Ben, it's so true though, because there's that part of Vader that we're missing. So Darth Vader actually is one of those villains that becomes somehow like lovable. Because he has this epiphany at the very end, but he's like a really vicious, evil Sith Lord. Like a lot of people miss that part of the story and his power, just how bad he is. And it's almost like the Terminator. Like, you know the way everyone went to see the Terminator, and it was just like, yeah, wow, he's a bad guy. He's trying to kill Sarah Connor, but man, he's pretty fucking cool. I gotta be honest. I kind of and then what's his name? The director Cameron's like, all right, I guess I gotta bring back the Terminator and make him a good guy. And it was just like, then there's Terminator 2. Darth Vader again, but is this really terrible villain that becomes liked. I mean, people love his theme song, and it's one of these things that it's like, yeah, you gotta, if you really get into the story, he's a terrible villain. I loved Mandalorian and the way it ends, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody that's geeking out that may want to get into the Mandalorian. The very last scene and the very last episode of The Mandalorian is just everything to a Star Wars fan. Yeah. It literally got me off the couch on my knees in front of the TV. I turned into a 9-year-old kid for that last scene. And there's also the Gina Carano crush thing that I've had, since she got into MMA. So that I got to see that. So that is our Star Wars May the 4th Be With You Geek Festival. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm really glad that we had Ben kind of take the casual approach, because there's a lot of people that do watch Star Wars the way you do. And you want to hear that perspective. And as much as it annoys the crap out of people like me and Srirachi, it's a much needed perspective, because again, it's the casual fan.
Right.
It's like the way a casual fan watches sports, and like the purist may watch baseball, as opposed to the casual fan who's just like, what? So what? They're going to play 7 innings instead of 9. What's the big deal? And you're like, no.
Things, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, no, you don't understand, and stop talking. So it's cool to have that perspective. But yeah,
Vinny,
so
have you seen the Clone Wars, the animation series? Have you seen any of that?
I have gotten into that. They really get into in depth the folklore. So if there were Star Wars fans out there that are like, I don't know if I could get into the Clone Wars, it's very cartoonish. It's not. It is a cartoon, but they really get into the folklore, and then you get into a lot of the Jedi stuff.
The Darth Maul character development in that is amazing. I don't know if you've seen the new series, like season 7. Did you watch that? Yeah, the Darth Maul fight.
The Darth Maul, but all of the Jedi stuff. So with Oshakana and all of that kind of gets developed out. Really, it's really cool the way they play that out. So I would tell people, if you've never seen Star Wars and you want to get into it, and you can start from movie 1 and go Phantom Menace. I say go Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. Watch the cartoon series from that point and get the whole Attack of the Clones thing. Then you can get into Revenge of the Sith. You could really get it. And then once you finish watching, as a new person watching, you could spend literally a year geeking out on Star Wars. Then you get to Return of the Jedi, and then just get complete amnesia that 3 more movies were made. And and just ignore the fact that Disney created 3 more movies. Make like you never saw it. Patrick Michael, the last 3 are like The Godfather 3, better left unseen. Yeah. See, that's a Star Wars fan. That's a Star Wars fan that's just like, make like it doesn't exist. It's like Game of Thrones. I tell people, if you want to watch Game of Thrones, stop at season 6, episode 10. And people are like, don't watch the last 2 seasons? No, don't watch the last 2 seasons. Make like it never happened. Seasons. Yeah. Now, are you a Game of Thrones fan, Ben?
Love Game of Thrones. Love Game of Thrones.
Did you like season 7 and 8?
I did, but I didn't like the ending. I mean, the ending was unsatisfying, to say the least.
Yeah.
But I felt like there were plenty of redeeming moments, amazing battles that you get in the last 2 seasons.
Visually incredible storyline. I tell people, stop watching episode 10, season 6. Make like
Where was
the last
Battle of the
seasons.
Bastards? Was that season 6?
Season 6, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, did you see it, Ben? Or you're a Thrones fan or no? Michael.
Yeah, I loved it. I agree with. I think season 8 was terrible. I can't remember where it ends, but I think I like season 7 if I remember correctly. And then I hated 8.
The fact that you can't remember where it ends is actually a gift. That's actually a gift. I wish I could develop that. Yeah. If someone said to me, listen, I could take out a part of your brain, what would it be? I would say take out a part of the brain that remembers seasons 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones. If you could remove that part of the brain from me, I would live a very happy life from that moment on. So that's how much I hate season 7. All right, guys, we did a great job. 51 minutes. We covered all of the Star Wars stuff. I have an announcement. I was talking about Ben. Ben kind of, when he was backstage watching me set up this video, he kind of saw the dealings of me on the phone with somebody. I am going to be bringing a weekly live version, kind of, not really of this, but it's going to be stand-up comedy, me riffing with an audience, starting May 27th. We secured a location in Hackensack, New Jersey. It's going to be me on a stool trying out some stuff, basically the stuff I would normally do in the city when there were comedy clubs and I was running around club to club. I'd have some old stuff, mix in the new stuff. Now I'm just going to sit on a stool, mix in new stuff, have fans, audience people throw out suggestions at me, ask me questions, whatever, riff, find some fun, maybe just improv, ask people where they're from, what they do. Hour-long shows. There'll be food. It's a bring your own. I'm going to announce the location soon, so if you're a fan, watch. If you are a fan of Judge Vinny, please make sure to like, subscribe, share. Tell me if you're watching live on Facebook. Tell me if you're watching on replay. I know this was a very specific episode to a very specific audience, but it's May the 4th, and May the 4th be with you, Ben, good friend, Michael Sirachi. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for always joining me. The boys will be back next week. We'll come up with a new show. Again, thank you, everyone, for joining, and that's the show for today.